This video is presented by the EA Creator Network. I have received some of the Sims 4 packs for free. Thank you to the EA Creator Network. Hello everyone, Jason Lady here. Welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. Today I am remodeling movers and shakers. I am taking it from simply a gym. I think that's all it was. I mean, it looked like it was kind of trying to pretend to be maybe some kind of like drink area plus a gym, because it had that like counter space kitchenette area type thing upstairs. But at any rate, I take it from being pretty much just a gym to being a gym, a cafe, and a small 2-bedroom apartment in preparation for businesses and hobbies. And this is the last one I'm gonna do until the pack comes out. I was struck by inspiration for the previous place and this place, and I just really wanted to build them. I could have started building them and then held on to them and waited for the new pack to come out and see how it works and then finished building them then, but I don't have enough time to build these and build something else on top of it so that I have something to put on my channel in the meantime. So it's kind of like, if I have the inspiration now, I need to strike while the iron is hot, so to speak, and build these now, because I do go through periods where I lose inspiration for building. I'm gonna be honest. I've been playing The Sims for 25 years, and I've been building for 25 years, and that's a really long time, honestly. So, you tend to lose your inspiration sometimes, and when I have it, I need to take advantage of it, and that's what I'm doing with these two builds. But I promise, this is it until the pack comes out, because we do not fully understand how the pack is going to work yet. I am almost 100% sure, almost like 99.5% sure that this is going to work just as I intend it to work, where you have a cafe downstairs on one side, and then on the other side you have a small gym, and upstairs in the back of the gym building there's lockers and bathrooms and stuff, and then upstairs above the cafe and the front part of the gym is a small 2-bedroom apartment. I really think that you will be able to charge separately for the cafe related stuff versus the gym related stuff. But even if you can't, I think it will still work anyways. Actually, other than the home area, which technically it does work, even with just like base game and get together, because get together is where you get the cafe stuff. With just the base game and get together, you can technically run this lot. You would either have to pretend someone is living upstairs in the apartment and just lock the door and not allow Sims to go up there. Empty that space out so it doesn't cost you a lot of money and everything, and just have it be an empty, like, fake apartment space. Or have a single Sim who technically owns another home lot elsewhere, but more or less basically lives here while running the cafe. And then the other Sims who come to use the cafe can just also use the gym equipment. It's just you can't charge them ticket prices or like daily or, whatever use of the gym equipment. But I mean, if you use your imagination, it does still kind of work regardless. But I do feel like with the new pack, you will be able to charge for the cafe stuff and for the use of the gym equipment. I really do feel like, based on what I've seen so far, it really will work. So at this point, I know that the gym is going to go downstairs on the more modern looking building, and the cafe is going to go downstairs on the more traditional, in the more traditional looking building. And I know that the apartment is going to go above the cafe, and we have to have bathrooms somewhere, and there's nowhere else to put them. So we're going to use at least part of the second floor for bathrooms and lockers above the gym. But it took me a little bit to realize that I had no room for bedrooms if I only used the cafe for the apartment. So eventually I end up stealing some space from the front upstairs of the gym to put the bedrooms for the apartment. I think it works, you know? I think in real life that would potentially be something that could or would also happen if you had someone living above two businesses that they own, where they kind of part of their house spills over. It might seem a little bit weird, but I didn't really have a choice. It's just how the floor plan ended up being, and I think it works out fine in the end. I am really excited to see how this lot will actually function, though, with the new pack. If it's anywhere near what I'm imagining it's gonna function like, then I think it's gonna be a really fun lot to play on. And it is part of my all packs save file, by the way. So, and when I say all packs, I don't literally mean all packs, but mostly all packs. The only bigger pack that I don't own right now is Journey to Batu, and I have no intentions of ever buying it. But I also don't own approximately 6 of the kits, and I don't know yet if I'm going to buy them or not. I haven't really decided. There's a couple of them that I do kind of want, and then there's at least 2 that I really just don't have any interest in at all, like even a little bit. So I don't think I'll ever buy those ones. But just because I don't think I will now doesn't mean I won't change my mind in the future, you know. Also, while we're working on the kitchen of the apartment, I figured out a nice little way of using those half dishwashers so that they don't look funny. You use them on the islands because you're not really blocking a cupboard space, and it doesn't make the cupboard look weird because the backside of the islands have nothing on them. I am sure everybody already thought of this, and I'm just late to the party here, but I was so excited when I did that and figured that out, and I'm like, woohoo, I love this. I love these little half dishwashers now. I mean, it's the little things in life, right? Yeah, I know. I'm weird, but that's okay, because we like weird people here. Weird people are fun people. Anyways, I kind of tried to stay mostly traditional-ish. I guess more transitional for the kitchen area. But then as we progress through the house, the decorating style gets more and more modern. I think it actually works out really well, being that the residential house, apartment, whatever you want to call it, part of the build is kind of spanning 2 sort of separate buildings that have 2 sort of separate styles to them. I think I did a fairly good job at transitioning from a more traditional look to a more modern look in the end. So yeah, I even included a little laundry room. I thought that that would be an important thing to have, especially since they're going to have a cafe and gym downstairs. But I have been going back to some of my other builds for the save file and adding small laundry spaces to them. And I do, now that we will have this new pack, I do plan on putting a couple of laundry mats here and there throughout the various worlds. It's a little weird to have like a full-on house and not have laundry space in them. So for most of the homes that are like 2 bedrooms or more, I have been going back and adding laundry facilities to them where I could. Some of them have been a little bit harder than others though because of the way I set them up. But yeah, I've been going through previous builds, but also making sure with newer builds that I'm making that I'm adding those little details like utility related things and whatnot that just add to the realism of the lots and add to the aesthetic of the lot as well. Yeah. So that's kind of an update on the all packs save file. I'm struggling a little bit more with the base game only save file, only because there are only so many things you can do with just the base game. I honestly don't know how I'm gonna fill up all of Newcrest with the base game only stuff. If you have any ideas, let me know down in the comments. But yeah, that one's gonna be a little bit harder. And this is what I meant when I said I bounce around a lot. So just a minute ago, I was working on the apartment after having done sort of the setup for the bathroom area for the gym. And then I'm like, I don't know what else to do from here. Let's go outside and add some curb appeal to this place. So then I worked on that for a while. I never even finished the bathroom stuff at this point. And no, there are not bathrooms in the cafe section. There are only bathrooms in the gym section. But I do put a doorway between the 2 buildings so that the Sims can go back and forth from the gym to the cafe easily. And you'll see later on I add sort of signs like toilet this way with an arrow. Those little black and blue signs that we got in some kind of base game update. When did we get that? Was that right before For Rent? We got those little like signs that like one has a toilet and one has a fire extinguisher and some different arrows and things like that on it. Yeah, I eventually add those there so that, and a couple of other things to designate, hey, you're headed to the gym now, or hey, you're headed to the cafe. That's what I mean when I say I'm getting into adding those little details that you would find in real life into my builds just to make them I don't know, more realistic and stuff, I guess. I don't know how else to say that, but you know what I'm trying to say, right? Oh, also, as I was building, I designated the lot cafe so I could make sure I had all the cafe stuff necessary, and then gym so I could make sure I had all the gym stuff necessary. But when I uploaded it to the gallery, I made it a residential lot. I figure how it will work with the new pack is your sim will buy it as a residential lot and then buy a business license and designate those areas downstairs as businesses. It is a very expensive lot. I think it comes in somewhere around 107,000 simoleons. So you will either need a very already wealthy family to buy this lot, or you will have to use free real estate on. And if you don't know some of the basic cheats like free real estate and all those, let me know. And I can put them on my posts or community tab. I don't know, what is it called now? I think it's just called posts now, but it used to be the community tab area of my channel here, or I can put them on my Linktree page. Or I can do a video about them, although I'd prefer to type them out somewhere so people can copy and paste if they'd prefer. But let me know if that's something that people are interested in knowing about, is the some of the more basic cheats that aren't like as involved as like using testing cheats and debug and all of that. You know what I mean? So here we are working on the cafe portion, and I thought this little nook, I thought the stairs just being stairs looked and felt a little weird, and I felt like it needed a little bit of a like braced building area, if that makes sense. Something that it can be braced against from the back of the stairs, because it's such a tall staircase. So I built that little bump out there, and then I wasn't sure what I should do with the little bump out. So I turned it into the like kitchen area of the cafe. So I decided to tile that part, use like a tile wallpaper to do like a cute backsplash behind that part and sort of separate it from the rest of the area. I know the kitchen area seems a little weird with that half wall and doors there, but I needed a way to separate the kitchen spot from the rest of the cafe so that you could lock those doors and only allow household or employee members to go back there. And the only way to really do that easily is to put a wall with doors on it so you can lock the doors. Or I guess you could use gates. That's what I used to do back after Get to Work first came out. I just used fences with gates to block off the behind the counter area if I didn't want other Sims going behind the counter, you know? I thought in this case it would be okay to put that half wall that kind of comes to about the top of the window there, and put those like restaurant slash cafe type doors there, and then lock those to only household and employee members. Oh, those shelves, by the way, that I'm putting there by the front of the place here that you're seeing on the screen right now, I figure we could replace those with retail shelves from the new pack when that stuff comes out, obviously. And your sim could maybe sell, I don't know, cakes or something from those shelves if it works that way. But for now, I just used the spa day shelves as like a placeholder. But if you download this lot and you use it for the new pack, I believe from what I've seen so far, there are shelves that will fit nicely in that spot, and you should potentially be able to put cakes or something there that you can sell from those spots. If all else fails, we decorate them with just like, I don't know, little decorative collectibles or something. I don't know. But yeah, I do plan on coming back and updating this lot when the new pack comes out. The same with the other lot that I built for Newcrest. I plan on updating that when the new pack comes out as well, for the all packs save file with some of the new stuff from the new pack. I won't upload those versions of these lots, but they will be available with the save file, if that makes sense. So these are the signs that I was talking about earlier with the different things, and I thought it's a toilet and an arrow. That's sort of something you would see in real life, right? Like they would have restrooms this way with an arrow. I've seen that at stores and stuff before, so I figured that added to the realism and everything, and connected the two spaces together. I guess in my mind, I envision this as being a couple, and one is really into fitness and wanted to start a gym business, and the other is just into like coffee coffee and pastries, and they wanted to start a cafe, and so they each started their own business. Fingers crossed that's how it will work in the new pack. But they each started their own business in the lower part of the building they were living in, if that makes sense. That's kind of the story behind the family that I'm kind of thinking of putting in here. I don't know anything beyond that. Just that one's very into fitness and one's very into all things caffeine. So, what else can we talk about? Right now what am I doing? Oh, I'm putting the seating area in for the cafe. I got a little turned around there for a second, like, what way are we facing? What part of the building? And then I realized, I think I start putting these in, and then I'm like, I don't know what else to do here. And I think I go over and work on the gym stuff for a little bit before I come back and finish this. So yeah, like I said, I bounced around a lot. The only thing I didn't touch until the very end and then worked on all at once was the backyard area. Not really a backyard, back patio. Not really a back patio either. I decided not to include yard space for the family that lives upstairs because this neighborhood does have a lot of green space. There's a big green space right behind these buildings, and then right past that is like the river. Is it a river or a lake? I can't remember now. But the water area, and then more green space, and then off to the side on the other side of the library is a playground. And I figured, you know what, they don't need their own backyard on top of all of that space as well. Sure, they can't just send their Sims outside or their children outside to play alone. If this was real life, you'd have to go outside with your kids when they wanted to play on the playground equipment or whatever. But in The Sims, it doesn't quite work that way. And since you don't have to be worried about kids falling off equipment and breaking their head or getting kidnapped or anything, I think it's fine. I think in this one instance, we don't have to have 100% realism. And this is where I add the pictures above the doors, like you're headed to the gym now or you're headed to the cafe now. And I thought those yellow, both of them coming in yellow was like perfect, and it just worked and was great for this build. So yeah, I don't have any other reason why I put a gym with a cafe, really and truly, other than that. With the gym, you can just pretend it's working if it doesn't work the way I'm hoping it will work with the new expansion pack, and you can just run the cafe part, and then Sims can use the other part however, whenever. You just won't make money. I already talked about all this, sorry. Or at least I feel like I already talked about this and explained it. Did I? Now I don't know. This is a very long video. I'm so sorry. Anyways, the cafe does seem really big with like a ton of seating area, whereas the gym in comparison seems really small. And yes, the gym building is kind of a little bit smaller than the cafe building. My main focus was the cafe, though. The whole back, like, patio area is gonna be cafe stuff. Oh, and for the save file, I have a sim in mind that I want to make who's going to be an artist, who's going to own an art gallery, and I would like her to paint some paintings for the cafe here. For now, I just put in placeholder pictures for those spots by the tables, but for the save file, I do plan on having a sim paint some paintings, custom paintings for those spots, just to kind of tie places and sims and storylines together, you know, and also to have custom paintings. Instead of just using the ones from the buy catalog. I thought that would be a nice touch for the save file as well, to do that kind of stuff. To also go through and have things made by other Sims that are in like other Sims homes or businesses or whatever, like rugs from Eco Lifestyle, or gosh, I can't think of anything else. Maybe flower arrangements or something for tables, although those die after a while, so I don't know if I'll use those, but you know what I mean. Knitting stuff, for instance. I'll eventually have a sim who knits a bunch of stuff, and then, you know, other random sims throughout the world will have those outfits. Like, I want to tie the entire, not a world, which to me feels weird calling them worlds, they're towns, right? They're towns. Like, why do we not call them towns? It feels weird to me to call them worlds, but like all the worlds as a world. One world, if that makes sense. Probably not, but you know what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to fill the time here. Just skip ahead a little bit, I guess. I don't know. Oh, yeah. So that family board thing, I don't know if you can actually use that with it being behind a stand like that. Oh, lovely. As I was recording this, I managed to break the button on my mouse. How even did I do that? I mean, it's a really cheap mouse. I could tell. It was part of the whole package. So I'm pretty sure the mouse and the keyboard are like super cheap, and I'll probably have to replace them sooner. Well, now I'll have to replace the mouse this weekend. But yeah, I could tell from the minute I pulled them out of the package that they were really, really cheap. But yeah, somehow I managed to break the button, and it's not really a button. Like the two finger buttons in the palm area are all one piece. Maybe that's why it broke. Because I fully rest my palm on the palm area. I can't hold my hand up for very long. And so if you're pressing down on the back of it and also pushing down on the front of it, the plastic is eventually going to snap in half. Yay, I get to buy a new mouse this weekend. Actually, you know what? That is a good thing, because I've hated this mouse since I got it. I just could not justify spending the money on a new mouse so soon after getting this whole big brand new computer set up. Now this gives me an excuse, because it's broken. I have to. I have no choice. Obviously, I have now moved on to the living room area. of the apartment upstairs. This is when and where I decided to add a pet to the lot as well. And I decided it should be a cat so that we could use up some of the space in the living room. It's actually quite a large living room. Not large enough to split between a living room and a bedroom, but as a living room on its own, it's very large. Isn't that weird how that works out? Like, you have a space that's too large to do one thing with, but it's not large enough to do two things with. Does that make sense? I don't know. It's weird to me, anyways. I did end up putting, because it's still a very large living room, I did end up putting, even with the cat stuff in it, like a little like desk and bookshelf area against the wall behind the couch. I think it's perfect. It's a perfect use of the space. It's a perfect transition area. And yeah, I don't know. I didn't know what else to put there, so that's what I put there, a little open office space. Can I be honest with you? I feel like I generally try to be as honest and open as possible. It was at this point that I started running out of steam on this build. It was at this point where I was kind of like, kind of bored. I love the build. I really do. But yeah, I was kind of bored. I don't know if maybe it was just because I've been so tired or whatever lately, or if it was because I don't know. I just got bored with it at this point. And yes, I do save a lot. If you haven't heard about the save corruption stuff, by the way, speaking of saving a lot, you should check my posts tab here on my YouTube channel. There's a link to a thread that you can report save file corruption in. But anyways, yes, I do save a lot because I have had a couple of crashing episodes recently. Nothing while I was building or playing or anything. It was mostly only while I was loading the game and I would tab out to do something on my other screen. And so that's kind of my own fault. You really shouldn't tab out of a game while it's still loading. So it's kind of my own fault that it crashes, but I have had a couple of crashing episodes recently. And so I've been doing like compulsive saving every half hour to an hour. If I'm not mistaken, this whole build probably took me. Let me check the files here if I can get to them. So the first file is 1 hour and 35 minutes. The second file is 23 minutes. The third file is also 23. The fourth file is 45 minutes. The fifth file is 1 hour and 28 minutes. I lost count now. The next one is 40 minutes, then 51 minutes, and the last file is 49 minutes. Yeah. This took me a while. Some of it was again because I was starting to get bored and I would stop and I would watch YouTube or I would watch one of my shows or something, and then I would go back to building, but I would leave the recording running because I would be literally in the middle of decorating something and I would get distracted by what was going on my other screen, and so I would just kind of stop and watch for a while, and then I would go back, and then I would watch for a while, and then I would go back. Speaking of watching YouTube and TV and whatnot, what is everybody watching these days? What's your favorite YouTube channels? What's your favorite TV shows? I feel very disconnected from the rest of the world, and I feel like the kind of stuff that I typically like to watch is kind of weird and I don't know, weird. Yeah, that's the only way I can describe it, weird. So what's everybody else watching? What's popular to watch these days, both on like regular traditional TV and on YouTube? Because I need new things to watch. I've been struggling lately. I have been reading a little bit more lately. I don't remember the name of the book that I read last month, but it was one recommended by Sherry from Young House Love. Gosh, I don't even remember what the book was now, and I just read it in January. But anyways, this month I decided to read the book that Lil Simsy read during her co-reading stream. At first, I wasn't really interested in it when she mentioned it, but after taking a little bit of a closer look to it, at it, excuse me, I decided maybe it could be interesting after all. I used to be a voracious reader. I'm not joking. Instead of doing my schoolwork and paying attention to my teachers, I would be reading books. I loved reading so much and writing that I truly thought that I was going to become an author when I was an adult. It didn't work out. I don't want to talk about it, but it did not work out. It's kind of an odd story. But I kind of lost the ability to write. And with that, I sort of lost the desire to read as well. And so for many, many years, I didn't read anything, whereas I was reading like sometimes up to 6, 7 books a month at times, if they were smaller books. I do have some eyesight issues, which means that I read slower than what I probably should be able to read. I'm a fairly slow reader because of my eyesight issues. And it can sometimes, with a good sized book, take me, a couple of weeks to read it. And also, maybe I really truly do have ADHD because sometimes I find that I have to reread a page or a paragraph 3, 4, 5 times before I actually pay attention. So that doesn't help either. But my point is, I used to read constantly. I always had a book in my hand, and for many, many years I had stopped, and now I'm trying to kind of get back into reading a little bit. And so it's hard though. I really initially had to force myself to read this current book, which, by the way, is called Remarkably Bright Creatures. And then the book before that, which I can't remember the name of. That's so annoying. So anyways, I've been reading again lately, and this current book, Remarkably Bright Creatures, and the book that I read before it are actually really good books. It took me a few minutes. It took me a little bit, like a couple of chapters to get into both of them. Oh, I know what it was. It was Perfect Little Children or something along those lines. It's kind of what would you call it? Kind of a mystery book, but also kind of not. I don't know what it's categorized as. It took me a little bit to get into it. I loved most of it, but then I really hated the end. Only because the ending is just so done. It's been done so many times, and it's not even a unique take on the situation. It's just, it felt like something I'd read 1,000 times before in 1,000 other books, really and truly just copy and pasted. So I didn't like the end, and I'm only probably a little bit better than halfway, no, 2/3 of the way through Remarkably Bright Creatures, but so far I'm liking it. I think I already know what the ending is because I read so much and I read all the different genres like historical fiction and sci-fi, and like I read it all, or I have, and I've read so much. I feel like there isn't much that can trick me anymore. I feel like I can pretty much predict the ending of almost any book I read now. Let me know if you've read any books that you really truly believe is unpredictable. But yeah, I feel like I can pretty much predict any ending of any book at this point. And I think I'm about 2/3 of the way through, and I'm almost 100% certain I know the ending already, which is always disappointing when I figure it out on my own, but also, haha, I'm smart. You know what I mean? Like, I'm kind of proud of myself that I can predict that, but also at the same time, it's like, huh, this is kind of boring now. You know? It's kind of like reading the ending before you even start the book, kind of deal. Guess what? We're finally almost to the end and we can do the walkthrough. Are you excited? Because I am. This is pretty much the end. I just work a little bit on the patio. Eventually, I decide to just make it all like kind of part of the cafe, because what are you gonna do with the gym? I briefly thought about putting a basketball court back there, but who wants to have basketballs flying around while you're trying to drink coffee, right? Like, one small accident and your $5 cup of coffee is gone. I know that can't happen in The Sims, and it would be fine in The Sims, but it just felt really weird, so I turn it into a cafe patio, and there you have it. A little bit of landscaping, or I guess in this case, potscaping? I don't know what to call it. Anyways, a little bit of floofing with flowers, and we're all done. Let's get into the walkthrough, shall we? Okay, so here's the front of the building, and I haven't done anything else with Willow Creek yet, so it's just here with all the other old buildings, but you can see the little playground over there on the other side of the library. We'll look at the green space in the back in a minute, but then you have the other stuff there. So let's start, I guess, maybe with the gym. I did leave the gym sign out in the front there near the sidewalk. I thought it was perfect, pretty good anyways to being perfect. I would have preferred something on the building, but there's not really a lot of space. So I opted for that sign there, and let's go inside. It is a very small gym, but that's okay. I didn't necessarily want it to be a huge gym. We can put a bigger one in another spot another time, but we've got a few treadmills, a few whatever these things are called. I try not to exercise if I can at all avoid it, so I don't know what that stuff is called. And it, like I said, very simple, very small gym. I don't know what the mirrors are for, but gyms always have them, so I always add them myself. Let's go upstairs. Then up here we have a hallway with some lockers. I didn't add too many lockers because, again, it's a small gym. We don't need that much stuff. But I did add 4 full bathrooms because these are the only bathrooms, public bathrooms on the lot. So they're also for the cafe downstairs as well. So I did add 4 full ones in here. Shower, baby changing station, toilet, the whole 9 yards. All 4 are identical to one another. So there you have that. Then if we go back downstairs, we could go out front, or we could go through the connecting door here to the cafe area. those shelves there for selling cakes or whatever when the new pack comes out. Lots and lots of seating. I do plan on replacing for the save file those pictures on the wall with custom pictures from a sim from the save file, but then we have, you know, a big seating area. The counter here with all the teas and everything. You can lock this so only employees come back here, and obviously you've got the little kitchen. We've got a fire suppression system rather than just smoke detectors. I think for a space like this makes more sense to have like a sprinkler system type of thing instead of just smoke detectors. And then of course a full, pretty much full, there's no stovetop, but I don't imagine needing a stovetop. This is all like pastries and baked goods. So there is an oven here, but no stovetop, because what would you need it for? You know what I mean? And then back here is the cafe patio area. Just a place to sit outside and eat your pastries or drink your coffee or whatever. Oop, wrong button. If you go over this way, actually, we'll go back here first. And I'll show you if you don't remember, haven't seen it. This is the green space that I was talking about. A huge open area. I know that sometimes there is an ice skating or roller skating rink back here, but still there's a huge amount of green space back here, and then back past that little walkway back there is more green area, so plenty of space for the kids to play without having a backyard for the apartment area. Then over here is the dumpster, and we will very painstakingly slowly work our way to the front door. You have this massive staircase here that leads up to the second floor apartment over here above the cafe. You walk, oh, again with the wrong buttons. You walk in and it's kitchen on one side, living room, sort of office space on the other here. Get some other vantage points here. We are getting a kitchen clutter pack soon, which is why I left the counters kind of bare, because I assume that we'll have stuff we can fill the counters up with when that pack comes out. So yeah, again, if you can't use this chalkboard, just replace it with a painting or something. I don't know if you'll be able to with the stand in front of it or not. I've never actually tried. But here is a little laundry room, electrical panel. Up on the roof, we have solar and solar water heater as well. Front door entry area, the little office space, the living room space with lots of places for family photos, the cat tree. I didn't know where else to put the decoration box. I think this place is gonna look so cool with seasons decorated on the outside for holidays. I can't wait for that. I'm excited about that too. Anyways, a little patio for the family with some planter boxes for, I don't know, maybe herbs or something. I don't know. And then the one single bathroom, but you know what? I think they will manage just fine. Then we have the kids' bedroom, 1, 2 kids. I probably wouldn't put more than that in here, but you know, it's plenty of space for 2 kids. Again, with the wrong buttons. And then the primary bedroom, the parents' bedroom. Nice, big, giant bedroom. I love the view from here. This is so cool. I would love to have a house like this. But yeah, parents' bedroom, and there you have it. I think we've seen everything. Let me know what you think down in the comments, whether you like it. Are you excited to use lots like this when the new pack comes out? And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, if you're enjoying my channel, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!